This is the Jason Walker Show. Two-time National Sports Media Association Montana Sportscaster of the Year and three-time loser, the Jason Walker Show. The best local and statewide sports coverage, featuring the biggest guests from Montana.
Flint Rasmussen joining us here on the Jason Walker Show.
He's freaking exhausting, too. You used to dance a lot more. Yeah, I know, lady. I'm 51 years old now.
The Ncaa Hall of Famer Mike Van Diest joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And is it just a deal where quarterbacks have to be good golfers?
Well, that's all they have time for. They don't work out. They don't lift weights. They don't do anything else. They might as well go get on the golf course and at least have some fun.
And from across the country,
Doug Gottlieb, our guest here on the Jason Walker Show.
End of the day, remember, it's your show. It's got your name on it.
Howie Mandel, our guest here.
Jason Walker, deal or no deal?
The Jason Walker Show, broadcasting from the Major Mortgage Man Cave. Here's Jason Walker.
Hey, happy Tuesday, the Jason Walker Show. Presented by Capital Collision Center. Montana state law says it is your vehicle, it is your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center. Here inside the Major Mortgage Man Cave, we had snow on the ground today. Thankfully, it's gone. We get to golf tomorrow starting maybe, which would be great. Trisha Vinford's going to join us today, the head coach of the Montana State women's basketball team. And she's been very successful in her 15-plus years and in Bozeman, and is going to talk NCAA inequalities at the tournaments and also some Title IX issues as well. So, I can't not have my pen when I talk. On this day in history, we've got big resignation, kind of a shock to some. And all state awards for AA has been handed out too, so we'll talk about some of them. But we're going to begin today. And normally we don't talk about what happened yesterday in Boulder here on the show. But I just can't. You can watch live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, listen on Podbean, Network One Sports, TreasureStateRadio.com. Email us at jason@jasonwalkershow.com. You can tweet us at jwalkersports. Like I said, normally we don't discuss shootings. We watched I did during the show yesterday, actually, had a little screen up watching as all the coverage from Boulder yesterday while we were on the air. And look, it sucks, okay, that we have to deal with this again. And Atlanta last week as well. I'm not going to make it a racial thing. It's not a political thing. You look at yesterday, 10 people lost their lives, including a police officer. That police officer rushed in to protect others, Eric Talley, and people from 9 others from the ages of 20 to 65 lost their lives. Man taken into custody. Let's not forget yesterday, however, though, that 15 lost their lives in Chicago. Okay, we can't not talk about Chicago while we talk about Atlanta and Boulder and wherever else. Mass shootings are terrible. Gun violence, knife violence, violence of any kind against fellow Americans is just, it's disgusting. We saw it all last summer. And look, this isn't... like I said, it's not political, it's not racial, it's not anything other than the fact that it's just sickening. Mental illness is a real thing, and that's what we're dealing with. It's not a gun issue. It's mental illness. Last week, the shooter said sex addiction. That's a mental illness. It's not a racial a racial thing here, okay? This is, again, my opinion. You can weigh in differently. You can tweet us. You can call in. You can text anytime. But it was just time for me to say, speak up on this. Look, I have guns in my house, and I also suffer from depression and anxiety. Does that mean I'm going to go shoot somebody up? No. I have a mental illness, but I'm dealing with it. And most people do. I mean, there's 300 million probably gun owners or guns. If guns were the problem, we would know from gun owners, responsible gun owners. I am a gun owner. My whole family has been. Assault weapons are banned. What happened yesterday was not an assault weapon. It's the name Armalite rifle. It can shoot like an M16 round, a 5.56. It can also shoot a .22 caliber shell. It's not a gun issue. It's mental health. And mental health is a disease and a sickness that people need to get help with. We do pray and our thoughts and grieve for those who lost their lives, but let's not forget the 15 that lost their lives in Chicago yesterday as well, in random acts of violence and shootings. Happens every day in Chicago, but we don't talk about that. All right. I had to get a little bit of that off my chest. It's really been on my mind. And like I said, if you want to weigh in, you can at JWalker Sports on Twitter. You can text, you can call in 209-1267. Email as well, Jason at jasonwalkershow.com. And if you want to disagree with what I just said, that's fine. I will. We'll have that discussion in the second half of the show, if you would like. All right, what else we got going on? We're going to talk to Trisha Vinford coming up. Don't forget to get on the schedule, by the way, for Nitro Green. All of your lawn, tree, and pest needs. Nitro Green just came out yesterday. Took care of, it's a weird transition. There's really not a great transition from any of it, but Nitro Green came in, sprayed for the spiders, sprayed for the hornets, sprayed for a lot. They'll be back later to get the lawn started, and they just do like the basic stuff for me, and then I have to mow my own lawn. I didn't even let my son mow my own lawn, who's serving in the Army. I didn't even let him use the lawnmower. I let him weed eat, but I'm the only one mowing my yard, kind of like Mark Schlereth. Anyway, Nitro Green, get on the schedule now. And they'll take care of you however you want. And love Nitro Green. Been using them since we moved up here. So there you go. All right. Governor's Cup. I was worried about the Gov Cup, and I'm going to tell you why. Last year, of course, everything in the world was canceled, except this show, it seems like. But we did get an update earlier this month that the Missoula Marathon was going to be canceled. I saw that on Sean Rainey's Twitter. And it was canceled for June. So I was wondering about the Gov Cup. Brian Haynes, the director of the Gov Cup, emailed me today and said the Gov Cup is moving forward. They're going to plan an in-person event June 12th. Now, remember, they did the virtual thing in the winter, which was awesome. And we got that very cool banner or scarf that's hanging up in the man cave here, right behind my right shoulder, or off my right shoulder. But anyway, so they're going to do an in-person event, and this is great. I'm so happy the Gov Cup is getting ready to go. So they're going to do the 5K, the half marathon, and the marathon. So no like family 3K. but also not going to have any of the Friday night evening events, which includes that kids fun run, which for years has been growing and growing. Now, I get it. Hopefully it's back next year. But the Gov Cup is back, and that is great news. That is fantastic. So thanks for that update from Brian Haynes. It's on, everybody knows about it now, so because everybody listens to the show. Going back real quick to the gun control issue, or mental, it's not gun control, it's mental health. Got a text from a good friend of mine who's an attorney, and he said, look, you can add that mental health issues require services. Those services should be available and accessible. That is true. That is absolutely true. And that's a difficult issue by itself, too. Again, though, it wasn't a social worker that ran in and took fire yesterday. It was a cop. It was 51-year-old Eric Talley whose life died, whose life was taken away because he went in to protect those others in that store in Boulder. And we salute him for his service. Mental health is a deal, and I'll keep talking about it as long as I have it, and I'm going to have it for the rest of my life. I've been dealing with mental health for a while. But I'm not going to go shoot up the store or a church or a massage parlor. It's not a racial deal. It's not racist at all. Last week wasn't racial. It was mental health. All right. Let's take a break. Got to regroup here. And when we come back, we're going to talk, well, I don't know how much regrouping we're going to do. The NCAA has been lying to us for a long time. It's gotten really bad over the last few days, and we'll talk to Trisha Vinford, the Montana State women's basketball coach, about the Title IX inequalities and violations that the NCAA itself is committing. That's next. This is the Jason Walker Show. We are presented by Capital Collision Center. Montana State law says it's your vehicle. It is your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center. Coming right back with Trisha Binford, Montana State women's basketball, next here on the Jason Walker Show.
New vehicles keep coming, and Capital Collision Center keeps earning certifications to repair them. They're Helena's newest GM-certified facility. No matter the make or year, they repair your car to manufacturer's standards and requirements, maintaining its safety and value. Montana State law says it's your vehicle and it's your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center, certified in GM, Subaru, and Nissan, and Helena's only shop certified in Honda, Acura, and Ford. When you value safety, go to Capital Collision Center on Euclid.
Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918. Or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Spring is fast approaching and summer is just around the corner, so now is the time to get those windows tinted at Auto Concepts as the sun starts to heat up. Tinting is the best way to keep the sun out of your little one's eyes driving down the road. Plus, it just looks cool. Auto Concepts is your exclusive 3M dealer for tinting, as well as the best clear bras in town. Auto Concepts clear bras will not fade or yellow over time. And don't forget about suspension lifts and power steps for your rig too. Visit AutoConceptsHelena.com or check them out on Facebook. Auto Concepts, the auto enhancement professionals.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $289. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena.
Everyone knows about Dinners Done Right and the convenience of the cook and carry cuisines. It's so easy to just stop by and you have something for dinner that night. But there's also one more thing you need to know about. Dinners Done Right Grab and Go Salad Bar. Yes, I said salad bar. Always the freshest ingredients, along with a daily soup and nacho bar too. So the next time you are in a rush or you just want to eat healthy, stop by Dinners Done Right. for the soup, salad, and nacho bar. For monthly menus and more info, it's dinnersdoneright.com. Oh, goodness. Welcome back, Jason Walker Show. Technology is great when it works. Love it. Segment brought to you by Rucker's Furniture. Make the quality choice for your home at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena. Still to come on this day in history. Got a wrestling coach stepping down we'll talk about. All state honors and much, much more. But I want to get right into my first guest, and she really needs no introduction because she's just awesome and famous, but it is the Montana State women's basketball coach, Trisha Vinford. Coach, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jason. How are you doing?
I'm just living the dream, and we were talking a little bit before. You are too. You're preparing for the upcoming season, even though the old season literally just ended a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we're just completing some player meetings and just trying to go over some goals and expectations for next season, and you get fired up about what we have returning and where we think this program is heading, and we're really excited about the future.
A tough tournament, but at least you got to play it, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't just kind of leave it at least. Obviously, you want to start the day with gratitude. You want to finish the day with gratitude. But most importantly, we grew a lot this season, and we got to the second round in the tournament, and it was felt the expectations that we had for ourselves, and really felt like we didn't have a great second half. But there's so many great learning lessons from that experience with the group that we're going to have from a core standpoint returning. So I think that's really what we need to take away, and just that experience in itself, I think it's going to be tremendously valuable. Gaining that experience with such a young class, taking advantage of that opportunity. There's a lot of things going in excitement. And then on the other end, just being able to watch and be proud of our men's team as far as they were able to go and support them. I just think a lot of exceptional things happening with our new football coach and our volleyball program hitting the tournament next week, and track and ski. And I can't really stop, Jason. Things are brewing here in Bozeman, Montana, as a university, as an athletic department, and we're really excited.
Well, and you should be, because there is, like you said, a lot of great things with all the sports, and it's just fantastic. It's Trisha Vinford joins us here, Jason Walker Show. You mentioned before we came on the air, your freshmen are now sophomores are now juniors. A lot of them grow up during the season as well, right?
Well, yeah, it's not every day you can have a sophomore running your program, and that being her team, and potentially having her in your program for 5 years, and then you've got a freshman class and a sophomore class that potentially is going to play together for 4 years. And the experience that we were able to have with, we had 2 seniors on our team, and everybody else was juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. And I guess the responsibility thrown onto very young shoulders, they grow in different ways than if they were able to take some time. So sometimes you throw them into the fire early. But I think the results are going to pay some major dividends, because the way that we've all been reflecting this week and having conversations, and the maturity that we were able to get, and just kind of learning those lessons with game experience versus practice experience is very exciting. And I think the kids are extremely motivated, even though it was an extremely draining season. So we're going to take some time to recharge and get our bodies healthy and recover. But once we're ready to go, I feel like kids are already chomping at the bit.
Trisha Binford, our guest. One final question on the season before we dive into the NCAA. But how many tests did you do, and does that recuperation include your nasal passages?
Well, somebody probably totaled that up, but from the start of October, and it might have even been the end of September, we were doing at least one test day a week. And then when the start of the season began in November, it was 3 times a week. And then there were certain weeks where it was more than that, depending on requirements on the competition. And even the Big Sky tournament was obviously a daily situation. So that was my first thought, was I am not going to miss doing those things and the sacrifice of everybody having to do it. But also the people having to conduct all the protocol. It's a lot of work, a lot of logistics to pull off, and we were able to accomplish that. And I thought our team did it extremely and well and successful. Once we got started through the course of the season, there wasn't anything happening on our end. It was actually opponents in our competition where we were not able to have contests. So I'm just really proud of just kind of the resilience of our team and our program and our department is creating that opportunity for us to have.
Trisha Vinford joining us. She coaches the Montana State women's basketball team. Are you going into year 16 now? Is that what it is?
Like that, Jason. I think it might be going into 17, but we'll just keep it 16.
Okay. Year 10. Everything's year 10 from now on, right?
That's right. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, it's been in the news a lot thanks to Sedona Prince from Oregon. And really because of social media, but the inequalities, and we'll just start there at the NCAA tournaments in Indianapolis and San Antonio. When you saw that, obviously you've been dealing with this for your entire career, whether it was a player or an assistant or a head coach. But what was your thoughts when you saw the difference in weight rooms?
First thought is it's our responsibility as the leaders to not let it get to the point where the kids are having to deal with it. I think we need to be the advocates first. And but at the same time, just kind of taking a deep breath. Obviously, I said earlier in the podcast, too, that you start with your day with gratitude. You finish your day with gratitude. You want those kids to get to the tournament and just be able to focus on trying to win a national championship. And I've been to that experience, and you feel the true excitement when you first get there, and you don't want kids to feel anything other than that. So, you know, you want to make sure you take the deep breath and, you know, you don't know all the logistics behind the details and everything, but definitely disappointed that the kids felt that and had to see that. I think we're the advocates to have that voice first because there's a lot of opportunities that are created, and we just got to keep working.
I'm sure you saw Don Staley's comments and Nell Fortner and Muffet McGraw's. Is that basically what you would type up and say too? Is, look, this is unacceptable and it's time to stop being quiet. Yeah,
I think, you know, for me, I start in-house first, and I'm extremely fortunate. First of all, I'm at a university with one of the most inspiring leaders ever, who has done the very best of the equality and opportunities for everyone, and also an athletic director that we don't really feel or experience that here. Like I just feel truly fortunate, and so when you see that at that level, we still have work to do, right? So I guess when I hear their words, it's a reminder about motivation and about each one of us, how we need to be our best advocate. And also at the same time, I guess for me, my initial response is for me to do it with grace of making sure I get my full picture of the things that we're striving for, and continue doing that as best as we can. And, you know, they're probably the most inspiring people you can think of when I think of Muffet McGraw, and I think of Don Staley, and you even think of Tara Vanderveer. They have experienced this in this move over a long period of time. My period right now, I go back to an experience I had at a seminar when I was early in my coaching career. I was invited to Columbia University, and I did this workshop with a bunch of up-and-coming head coaches and young head coaches, and some of the head coaches there were like a Vic Schaefer, who's now at University of Texas, and the drift coach, and just really, truly impressive coaches to be in this workshop with. But one of the things that really stayed with me when I was at this workshop, I'm totally getting off topic, Jason.
No, it's fine.
But one of the things that stayed with me at this workshop they had an athletic director come in, and I don't even remember what the athletic director was from, but this athletic director told us that women's basketball, out of all the sports nationally, okay, loses the most revenue. And this athletic director then followed up and basically at the time told us our job is to run really, really high character programs, obviously try to have success, but run a clean program. And one of the reasons this athletic director said, you know, of athletic directors always have the stress of football, men's basketball, you know, in those programs off court, are they making good decisions and getting in trouble? And women's basketball has to be clean and do it right. And just, it almost came across as staying out of the way. But I remember this, and this was probably 12 years ago. Okay. Now you're looking at this period of time and Don's comments, you're looking at Tara's comments, you're looking at Muffet's comments, you know. I think we just always have to remember we're making strides every single day. And back at that time, the comments were about us not making revenue, right? And that really did hit home to me because, you know, we're losing so much money for the department and we're having this opportunity to compete and to perform. But now, if you look at today versus even 12 years ago, there is a lot more viewership. There are a lot more programs that are bringing in revenue. We still have our work cut out to do as well. So I always start with me. I'm like, okay, how do I make sure that people are supporting our program? That's where you start, right? We need to get more people watching our games. We need to be getting more people to buy season tickets. We need more people to be supporting and seeing how hard and what commitment these kids put in on a daily basis, just like the men do, and continue. Fight's probably not the right word, but continue this fight for these things for our kids not to have to experience, because we are making more strides, because we are having more viewership and those kinds of things. So to some extent, they're more articulate than I would be. But I'm definitely proud of right now females and women's athletes are feeling empowered to make a statement about, you know, the impact that they have to offer. And I'm just really proud of, you know, Prince feeling like she has a voice and being empowered to have that voice. And, you know, we've got role models now for, you know, my daughter who's 12, her role model is Jordan Canada. And for me growing up, I had my sister, my brother, there was a high school player in our town that I really looked up to. But outside of that, I didn't get to see women's college games on TV. There was no WNBA. So I always start with the self-reflect of the grounds we're gaining, but we still have work to do. So I love that people are speaking up and having a voice, but I also want to come back, Jason, to my start with gratitude too. I'm very, very grateful. And I think those kids wanted to get there, and just really just the fortune of being able to pull off those tournaments. You know, we've also got to go there of how big of a deal that was to pull that off, to make those two places happen. And I don't know the logistics on how all that works behind the scenes, right? So that's where I always go back to grace, but always striving for kids feeling like that they have achieved something great, and playing an NCAA tournament is something that they should and never will forget.
This shouldn't really, like you said, it shouldn't be on the players. It should be on, you know, and I've been an advocate of women's basketball, as you know, since I worked with you at Montana State. I love the game, even more so than the men's game at times, because it's just pure. It's pure basketball. And I love women's basketball. I love women's athletics. I have 2 daughters, and I want them to have the same, you know, amount of success. Had one of your players, like a Darian or a Tori or somebody, done what Sedona did, obviously you back that up?
Absolutely. Like I said, I was proud of her to feel like she had the voice to say that. And that's what we're growing, right? Strong women leaders who are empowered to have a voice for what's right. And, the first word that comes to mind is consistent. You want consistency. And the second piece is, if Daring or any of my kids spoke up on things not being consistent, then I haven't done my job. Like, I want to do a better job, and but I would be extremely proud of them as far as standing up for what they think is right. We want to create that culture and that empowerment, and at the same time, we're gonna have gratitude. There's a lot of people that, like you said, like you're an advocate. I'm like, one of my strongest advocates is Danny Sprinkle.
Yeah.
When he took over the men's program, one of the first things he did, he's like, I'm going to be a fast break member. That's my booster club for my women's basketball program. And I'm like, this guy is phenomenal. And I just think those kinds of supporters are just truly amazing. And we just got to never be comfortable, I guess, with where things are at. That's like any coach in any situation or role is we can always, in between that start of that day and the end of the day, is find ways to make things better. But the word that came to mind with all that going on, and you're trying not to read into everything too, right? So you're seeing pictures and you're like, oh my goodness. But I'm like, for sure, the word consistent comes into play. But throughout this entire season, regardless of I know the gear was brought up too. The mental health to me has been the lost piece in this entire shuckle, this entire season. And when we went through the Big Sky tournament, it was really challenging even for our programs. Just, the amount of time that you're spending in hotel rooms and trying to sacrifice to limit exposure and all those sorts of things. And it didn't sound like the teams were having a consistent theme as far as getting out to a park or a field, or that part is a big piece in the mental health, and obviously maintaining your strength training from an injury standpoint and mental health is huge too. So, when those things were said that they're going to be offered and taken care of, and you expect them to happen. So I guess for me, consistent is the word I always go back to.
Couple final ones for you, Coach Binford, Montana State women's basketball coach. It just frustrates me that the NCAA itself failed miserably on this, and then I mean their excuses are just it's asinine. But they knew what was going to happen, and did they not expect women to stand up for themselves because they never have before?
Well, that, Jason, is not my question. That is your question for the NCAA. That's my politically correct comment.
I like
right
it.
there.
I like it right there.
All I can say is, I think student athletes are student athletes. And I think champions and people striving to be champions are champions, regardless of gender. And, so we as coaches, we as leaders, we want to set up all of our student athletes to be as successful as possible. And it should be that should be the standard, and that should be the prestige. And I know that it's gotten people's attention. And so I think that's a good thing, that it's gotten people's attention. But at the same time, I'm about moving forward, and I'm about improving, and I'm not about complaining. And so I just think get people's attention, make sure we're meeting the standard, and if it's not being set, then we continue to challenge the standard. So I think those are great ways to lead and advocate, and kids definitely have a platform right now, and they're utilizing it, and we want to honor that because we are a part of their mentoring, right? So we want to make sure we're directing them and leading them the right way. And I think kids are striving at a very high level. And I keep going back to just the amount of time that everybody has put into this season and this very challenging year. I was writing a reference today for Ashley Mansickle on my team. And I'm sitting here like thinking of what she pulled off doing her student teaching while competing for us and working all of her workouts around her student teaching and planning her schedules with her strength training and her extra workouts with me and Sunny and Jeff. And she excelled in both areas and all those sacrifices. And we're so proud of all these student athletes. They each have a different story. So I'm gonna go back to getting back to the positive that we've gotten people's attention, and I think everybody's going to do better. But people are going to speak up for making sure that we're being consistent. We're continuing to strive for better, and so we're just never going to. I shouldn't say never, but you just don't want to be comfortable. You don't want to be complacent. You want to start your day with gratitude, but you want to strive for better.
Final
I guess
question.
that's a very general answer.
I like it. Final question for Montana State basketball coach Trisha Vinford. You mentioned moving forward. Let's go back to your playing days in both college, where you were a superstar, the league, where you were a superstar, and now in coaching, where you're even more of a superstar. What needs to change we've seen the progress over the last 30 years. Where do we go from here? How do we get better on the equality side for women's student athletes to be more equal to the men?
Well, I'm probably the most challenging person to ask this question because I like the way I lived my life growing up with my dad and my mom, creating opportunities and just all the support I always felt is, I guess I didn't get to really see it, I guess. I just felt like I had opportunities. And so I think it's continuing to grow with that and seeing little by little of that progress. But I'm just extremely thankful for the people that I've been able to meet throughout this journey too, of probably who've been monster advocates, like an Ellen Craigbaum, at Jenny Hunt, June Doherty that I was able to play under at Boise State. Like June Doherty heavily pushed the needle on the things and opportunities for our team there. And obviously Ellen and Jenny were during a time of the start of, the women's basketball program here, but also part of that Title IX transition. And so I guess for me, I need to be more intentional probably with the things that we need to strive for. But I've just also been truly blessed with such people in the places I've been that have been such great advocates. So we don't feel it maybe as much as other places have seen. I guess that's a really generic answer. But I feel like we are heading in the right direction. I think the fact that women feel empowered to speak up, I think that is a part of it. What we're doing as a university, we are striving, and maybe some people need to look at our university. So I guess the challenge is, a lot of people will bring excuses into the mix, and I don't know if that's the right word either. This is a pretty heavy topic, Jason. I don't usually talk on topics like this. But a lot of people talk about the revenue piece of maybe that's some of the things behind it. And I have a great understanding for that. And like I said, that's why I brought that 12 years ago, whatever that is, when I went to that workshop. And I'm like, I did not realize women's basketball as a collegiate head coach was the most losing sport revenue program in the nation. And so I've always been striving on how can our program get people excited about women's sports. So I guess let's go back to your question. I'm going to cut to the chase now since I've been way all over the place. Anybody with a daughter, anybody that loves sports, I think that the way to start is, or a niece, or maybe I'm like, there's somebody that has some girl or kid in their life that they truly want to support and love. And we just need to encourage people to go watch and support these kids as well as the other teams. And I can't tell you how many times I've had people come to our games and talk about, that was the first time I've seen a women's game, and it was so fun to watch. Your kids compete so hard. I'm coming back. And sometimes it's just, we got to get that first time of somebody supporting these kids or somebody hearing a story. We try to get them to know our players, them to really be connected, of having that passion to watch our team. And we have a great atmosphere here in Bozeman. It's one of the things that I love about Bozeman the most is we do support the women's teams here, and we need to continue striving for that. And so my message is support women in sport. I think you could take away, there's so much value to girls competing in sports, and there's so many confidence builders and team builders, and we just need to strive for that and continue with that, and surround yourself with people who are going to do that. And that's what I've done. I've got a president, I've got an athletic director, I've got a department. I have all those people that are on that trajectory. So I've surrounded myself with people that are about opportunity and providing resources for people to succeed at the highest level and to be consistent there. And I think us being consistent in our leadership is really important.
Well, I think perhaps maybe Mark Emmert should make a return trip back to Bozeman and see how Montana State is doing things. And with, you mentioned President Cruzado and Leon Costello and Danny Sprinkle, everybody down there at MSU. It's been a pleasure to watch you over the last, we'll call it 10 years. But the way you have,
Jason, we'll stick with 10.
Yeah, the way you've grown the women's game and just grown Montana State athletics has been fun to watch. We're going to talk a few more times, but before next year. But at this point next year, Coach, I want to be talking to you from the Final Four.
I like the way you're thinking, Jason, but
as a coach, not just as like hey, I'm here watching. I want you to be preparing for, a Sweet 16 game or a Final Four game.
Well, don't get me wrong. We have a big vision for this place, so we are not done yet.
I love it. Trisha Vinford, thanks for joining us. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, and enjoy the rest of your off season.
Will do. I appreciate it, Jason. Thanks again.
Thanks. That is Trisha Vinford joining us here, Jason Walker Show. And love it. I love getting her perspective. She brought up a lot of great points there. And Montana State has always done a great job, especially over the last 2 decades of being consistent, to use one of her terms, in the equality. You don't hear problems at Montana State like you do in colleges in the frontier around here. You just don't, and it's fantastic. There's a couple other things that with this, and you talk about consistency. Well, the NCAA volleyball tournament is going on now. Remember last year they got to play because it was during the normal season in the fall. Well, they're moving the tournament to Omaha, Nebraska, April 13th through the 24th, NCAA volleyball tournament. Number 1, Wisconsin, and head coach Kelly Sheffield are saying, look, basketball's been able to do this now with 64 teams. Normally, volleyball has 64. They lowered it to 48. But why can't we now have 64 teams? Make the right decision here. You still got a month or 3 weeks. Make the right call here. Sheffield posted on social media yesterday that 6 months ago, when the coaches learned that there would only be 48 teams, this is coming from Husker Extra, journalstar.com. When they learned there'd only be 48 teams in the tournament, they figured, hey, we're just going to be happy to have a season. But now after seeing how basketball's done it in one site for both San Antonio with the women and Indy with the guys, why can't we go back to 64 teams? And I think it needs to happen. And 4-time national champ John Cook said this too. Said the NCAA, quote, is under a lot of fire right now, especially with women's sports. They're going to pay a big price, I think. This would be one way they could start showing that women's sports are important. I think they lumped volleyball in with other sports. They're trying to limit the championships. But the fact that we've gone to one place saves money. To me, it's a no-brainer. I'm glad he tweeted something out. Maybe they'll listen, end quote. That's from four-time national champ John Cook. Look, volleyball needs to. And he's absolutely 100% on. And he added too, John Cook did. Basketball didn't cut back. Football didn't cut back. You're looking at adding 16 teams. Normally you have 64. Why not be at 64? Makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Let's see here. Oh, Mark Emmert's asked for, he said there's going to be an independent review. And in case you missed some of what's going on, not only the weight room issue, this is the difference in foods. Okay, there's the weight room first on the left, and then the women's designer one plate tray for food in San Antonio. The men had a buffet style. And then the swag bags, the men got a ton of stuff. The women, But, I mean, and that's the other thing. March Madness, it's only about the dudes, right? Not about the women. It's crazy. Jay Billis, who very well spoken and very outspoken with ESPN, he had this to say today.
NCAA President Mark Emmert sent a letter to his staff saying, "I will determine how we found ourselves in this situation." Basically an investigation into what happened with the women's basketball tournament. Well, first of all, you didn't find yourself in that situation. You put yourself in that situation. And it was because of leadership failure. And the leadership failure is yours. So if you want to crack this case as to what happened and who's responsible, all you need to do is find a mirror and look into it.
That is Jay Billis talking about NCAA President Mark Emmert. 100% spot on. Absolutely 100% spot on. Well, that's a great tweet I'm going to share when we come back after the break. That is awesome. But he's spot on. Jay Billis, 100%. Totally agree. Can't say it any better than that. Mark Emmert probably needs to be replaced, by the way. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Capital Wrestling coach is stepping down. We'll talk about that and more when we return here, Jason Walker Show. Our conversation with Trisha Vinford brought to you by Dinner's Done Right. That's what she said. Don't forget Dinner's Done Right. To go, just call ahead. Order what you need for dinner. They'll make it up, and they'll even deliver it curbside. Go to dinnersdoneright.com and check out the menu for March. It's fantastic. And they bring us, Dinner's Done Right does. That's what she said. Each and every week here on the Jason Walker Show. Coming right back. Hang on.
Store-wide savings are what you'll find when you shop for new home furnishings at Rucker's Furniture. This means tremendous values on Helena's largest in-stock selection of home furnishings. When you shop Rucker's, you'll find store-wide savings on the furniture you want for every room in your home. And you'll also find our selection of Serta iComfort, the most comfortable beds in Helena. 12-month financing is available with approved credit on most purchases over $289. Ask for details. You'll find store-wide savings at Rucker's Furniture, 1010 Dearborn, Helena. Store-wide savings are what...
New vehicles keep coming, and Capital Collision Center keeps earning certifications to repair them. They're Helena's newest GM-certified facility. No matter the make or year, they repair your car to manufacturer's standards and requirements, maintaining its safety and value. Montana state law says it's your vehicle and it's your choice where you have it repaired. Choose Capital Collision Center, certified in GM, Subaru, and Nissan, and Helena's only shop certified in Honda, Acura, and Ford. When you value safety, go to Capital Collision Center on Euclid.
Have you thought about buying a home and just don't know where to begin? Well, when it comes to one of the most important purchases one can make, we understand it can be frustrating and confusing, but it doesn't have to be. Let the Major Mortgage team help you with all your mortgage needs. Major Mortgage means major service, and we would love the opportunity to help you today. Give J.R. McFadden, NMLS number 1246357, a call today at 406-465-1918, or you can visit him at 2001 11th Avenue, Building A, Suite 3 in Helena. Major Mortgage is a division of AMCAP Mortgage, NMLS number 129122, equal housing lender. Man, I'm struggling. I'm struggling. Just responding to a fantastic private message on the Twitter, and I can read it. Here we go.
Welcome back to the Jason Walker Show.
All right, final segment, Jason Walker Show. Mark Adams, who we've had on the show before, fantastic college basketball analyst at ESPN, and author of a great book called The Coach and the Geek, which I highly recommend. Just Facebook or tweeted me and said, remember the last time Mark was on, I think it was in December. It was December. Or maybe January. But he was talking about how our sons are both in the Army, and he said that his son is at Fort Riley, Kansas. And I said, wait, that's where my son is at. So I told, and Mark had just been on base with his son. So we talked about it on the show, and then I told my son about it, Bob, and it was like, hey, you should, find this guy and blah, blah, blah. And Mark, and Bob never did. So, because they're one with E Company and one's with C Company, I don't know. So anyway, they just met today. Not in Fort Riley, Kansas. No. Mark Adams' son and my son, both in the U.S. Army, just met today in Romania, where they're both at right now for the next 9 months, 8-9 months. So that is cool. That is very cool. And very proud of our service members, men and women. That is just awesome. All right, here, Jason Walker Show, and Jeff Mahina has resigned as the Capital wrestling coach, which caught some people by surprise. But what a great dude. Great wrestling coach. And he's done a great thing. Got him to an 8th place finish this year at state. And search is going to, start immediately. But after 7 years at wrestling, or coaching, or helping coach the wrestling at Capital, they went from 18 kids to 40 plus a few years ago, and now it's even more than that. You had multiple state champs. You had state winners. Noah Kovic, of course, going back-to-back. Carson DeRozier winning a second title this year. And is it Noah and Carson and Gnarls Lane are the only ones that have won a couple, I think? I know Noah's the only one to go back-to-back. But Coach Mahina, who, he's a Bruin, and he'll continue to teach over at Capital. He's going to be an assistant, also a driver's ed instructor. But he's done a great job, and he's a fantastic guy, great guy. And we wish him the best. But search will begin immediately, according to Tim McMahon. And we wish Coach the best. So that's pretty cool that he had such a great career. And he's still going to be helping out with football and the such. Let's see here. I think we can check this out tomorrow, because we're going to keep following this NCAA deal. What a joke it is. All right. On this day in history, it is brought to you by Big Sky Printwear. We print what you wear. Jason Walker Show t-shirts are in-house. We will give some away. We love if you go online, and we'll put up online if you purchase some too, or make a donation for a t-shirt. We have small, medium, large, and some extra large. But I can get more printed if you need a bigger one. Anyway, today is National Chia Day, March the 23rd. It is Chip and Dip Day. It is Near Miss Day. Diabetes Association Alert Day. Puppy Day. 3D Tamale Day. And also, not 3D tamales, but 3D Day, Tamale Day. Is also National Egg Day. And here in Montana, of course, that means an awful lot. On this date in 1948, at the 10th Men's Basketball Championship, Kentucky beat Baylor for the first championship for Kentucky. 1952, the New York Rangers blow a 6-2 lead and lose 7-6 to Chicago. Bill Mozienko scores the fastest hat trick in NHL history. 21 seconds. Oh, nuts. 1957, North Carolina beats Kansas 54-53 in triple overtime at the 19th Basketball Championship. Wilt Chamberlain of Kansas wins the most outstanding player despite not playing for the winning team. Loyola Chicago, 1963, beat Cincinnati 60-58 in overtime. It's the Ramblers' first title in the 25th championship. The Ramblers were in the Final Four a few years ago, remember? They're making a run again this year. And they have Sister Jean once again on their side. Sister Jean's 101. And Sister Jean, this is interesting. You ready for this little tidbit? Sister Jean was born August 21st, 1919. Babe Ruth had a triple and drove in 2 runs that day for the Boston Red Sox. Babe Ruth still played for the Red Sox when Sister Jean was born. How about that? That is awesome. That's pretty cool. And love it. All right. So they won their first title on this day. The Ramblers did. Let's see. 1974, the AIAW Women's Basketball Tournament. Immaculata goes over Mississippi College in Manhattan, Kansas by a score of 68-53. In 1980, at the Women's Basketball Tournament, still the AIAW, Old Dominion beat Tennessee 68-53 at Mount Pleasant. 1994, Wayne Gretzky sets the NHL record with 802 goals scored. 2000, Joe Sakic records his 400th career goal and becomes the Quebec Nordiques Colorado Avalanche all-time leading point scorer. A couple of birthdays. Roger Bannister was born on this date in 1929, the first to run the 4-minute mile, under 4 minutes. Gino Auriemma's birthday is today, 1954, the Italian-born head coach of the Yukon Huskies. He was born in Montella, Italy. Moses Malone was born on this date in 1955, the Hall of Famer. Elijah Otis installed his first elevator at 488 Broadway in New York City on this date in 1857. The first telephone was installed at the president's desk under the Hoover administration at the White House in 1929. It is the birthday of Betty Nesmith Graham, who was born in Dallas in 1924. She invented liquid paper, and we all have used that, right? Yep.
We're almost at the end of the show. What did we learn? And what did he miss? Time for the walk-off.
This Day in History brought to you by Big Sky Printwear, over 35 years of service. And if you don't know what you need done, just stop in and get it. They'll explain everything. 1400 Euclid, new place, Henderson and Euclid. And if you just need one shirt, they'll do it. If you need 1,000, they'll do it too. They'll even design logos, and they can handle any size order. We'll have polos as well. Probably, yeah, those are going to be fun. But we have T-shirts we're going to give away too. And if you want to donate to buy one, we'd love that. And everything's printed in-house, which is cool. All right, the walk-off. Mask mandates, no more starting tomorrow morning in Butte, Silver Bow County. And everything else is gone too. So Butte will be normal, as is Cascade County as well. So when will Lewis and Clark follow suit? Can we get Lewis and Clark to drop the mask mandate? All right, if you missed today's show, go to jasonwalkershow.com and check it out. That included our conversation with Trisha Vinford about NCAA, what can be done to become more equal in women's, just in sports. How about not even women's sports, just in sports? But let's get equality. And I said it yesterday, I'll say it today. when you look at Title IX issues and equality, whether it's Ncaa, whether it's a small college, private, or whether that takes federal funding, or whether it's the NCAA, where's the leadership? Mark Emmert, gone. I mean, where's your leadership, Mark? We'll work to get him on the show. He won't come on. There's no way. He's too big for us. He's too big for himself. But, yeah, no leadership. Nothing at all on that front. Let's see. What else did we want to get to today? Oh, I can't wait to August 6th, Great Falls. I get to host the Miss Rodeo Montana pageant, which is going to be awesome. It's good to do that. And then going to be heavily involved with Miss Last Chance Stampede pageant as well coming up in July. So just stick here. Jason Walker Show. We'll have everything for you. JasonWalkerShow.com. We appreciate everything. And again, if you want to, have the discussion on what happened in Boulder, Atlanta, Chicago every day, we can do that anytime. Tweet at @JWalkerSports. Send me an email. Call in on the show tomorrow. On the show tomorrow, Jeff Coffey will join us. He's a singer-songwriter. He used to sing with Chicago, the band. So we'll get to going there. Mental health. Get it? Let's fix mental health. And then we can start to fix other things. See you back here tomorrow at 4, Jason Walker Show. Go to JasonWalkerShow.com. Have a great Tuesday.
The Jason Walker Show is produced by the Jason Walker Media Company. Any reuse, rebroadcast, or retransmission without the express written consent of the Jason Walker Show is strictly prohibited. Just listen, watch, and enjoy.